Happy Friday, everyone. Again, happy to share with you some tips and tricks specifically on the 9.2 version. Probably half of the tips and tricks you're going to see here are not part of the documentation, as SAP starting to deliver more and more functionality, not just on major release, but also on each patch. And right now I'm going to be demoing using the latest patch of 9.2, which is PL6. So far we've seen it is very stable. We have probably half of our customers already on 9.2, so we are very, very happy with this version and do not see any major issues, just new great functionality. So the agenda for today is to go through 18 tips and tricks and to do a hands-on demo to see how it works in SAP and to leave some time for questions. Looking at documentation you could use and further explore and further enhance your understanding on the topics you're gonna see here today and some other tips. And we'll see if we have time for audience tips and for Q&A. So let's start with tip number 1. Customer is also a vendor. So under the BP master data, under accounting, you will see now a new thing called connected vendor. We go to SAP. Is I don't know if everybody know, but before that, in the internal reconciliation, you could always choose. When you reconcile invoice with receipt, sometimes you want to reconcile multiple business partners. So even before 9.2, it was available to reconcile customer with a vendor. Now they added another functionality. So you choose your customer, you choose your vendor, you click reconcile, you see all the transactions AP and ARs, and you can reconcile them together or make adjustment from here. So that was available even before 9.2. What they did in 9.2 is added the functionality to use the connected vendor, or in the vendor it will be connected customer. So under the business master data of the customer, under accounting, for example, this customer, if we look at his aging right now, there is no aging. So let me choose another customer. I'm gonna go to search, look for a customer with a balance. This one, if I go to their aging, we will see that this customer have 4 open invoices. The additional functionality of the connected vendors allows you to get them aging report with the open transactions of the vendor. So if we choose the first vendor here, now the customer is connected with the vendor. And as we go through the vendor aging report, there is an option here to consider connected vendors. So you can see the aging of the balance only with the customer invoices, but you can also consider the connected vendors, which will link to the AP invoices. And same thing on the vendor side. Okay, any questions so far? I'm gonna bring it back to what it was before. So that's reversible. You can always change the definition and things of that nature. That's tip number 1. By the way, every tip most of the tip I put a hyperlink. So as you click and control and click, let me exit that, control and click, that will open a LinkedIn or the website where that tip is a reference, and maybe have more information on how it works. So most of the tips today have that hyperlink. The second tip is the tooltip. This is one of the things I really like about the 9.2 version. It starts from PL4. They deliver the tooltip, and this is pretty much amazing. Once you get used to that, it's really hard to work with the previous patch. So let's look what's that tooltip. Under administration, or I always like to go through the menu. So let's do search menus, tooltip preview. You can, by default, it's not enabled, but from PL4, it's now available, that window. You can enable preview. You know, when you're in an invoice and you want to gather more information about the customers, how you have to drill down into the customer. So this will allow you not to have to drill down into the customer or chart of account or things of that nature, and to present the information as you hover over the orange arrow. So you can define in each object what fields you want to see. So you can define, I don't need the federal tax ID, and you can define the order by using with the arrows. So almost all those objects are available. And then as I go to any transaction, for example, sales order here, and I want to see the balance of the customer, I can just hover over the arrow and I will see additional information from the customer, from the BP. As I hover over the item, I will see information from the item master data. Same with warehouse tax codes and many of the master data. Does that make sense? Questions? Okay. So that was the tooltip. Again, there is a hyperlink from here to the appropriate tip. The next one is UDF Enhancements, some nice new enhancement they added in 9.2. Really like the fact that they added the link to objects and the link to system objects. For example, let's say, when can you use it? Let's say that you want to connect, I don't know, the purchasing order with the PO. If before we had to do formatted searches and things of that nature, now you can have a direct link. And how you do that? You go to user-defined field. You go, for example, to the production area, production order title. Now when I add UDF, I can say PO, and I can call it connected PO. And I can say that I want validation. Now you have link to entities. That gives you different options. You could choose any of those entities, so you can connect it to AP invoice or to the PO. You can also connect it to business partner and all kinds of other information. So for example, if you want to connect item with customers, you can do that and things of that nature. So in this case, I want to connect it to, for example, to the purchase orders. In addition, you have all kinds of other validations. You know, if before it was also only mandatory, now you can valid values was before, but in advance you can say equal to, less than, greater than, in between, so you can have better validations for data. But in this case, I will link it to the purchase orders. I will add that to the database. And now as I go to production order, obviously I could have set it as mandatory as well. As I look at the user-defined field, I can go to an existing production order, for example, and choose a PO, which is native, choose from list like anywhere in the system, and connect that PO and update. So now I have a direct link from the purchase order, from the production directly to the purchase order. And in addition, using the edit from UI, I can move a field anywhere in the screen. So that's become very handy. Any questions about that? Okay. The other thing is the support user. The support user is something new delivered with 9.2. It means you will not any longer need to buy a license only for your consultant. SAP listened to customer request and created a support user. What it means, it not just give your consultant a user that can use without paying for an additional user. It also keeps a log on everything your consultant did while connecting to your environment, so you have better control on who did what when. So again, if I go to Business One, I'm right now logged in as support, but basically there is probably, we done it quite a few times by now, so probably a setup of half an hour to an hour also at the back end of the SAP portal, so nobody can make a wrong use of that support user. And once that's done, the system actually create a user called support. Automatically, you can go into that support and make sure password never expired and reset the password for that user. It's automatically also a super user, so we can do everything we need to do. And as I log in, every time I log with the support user, the system will ask me, who are you? What's the login reason? And login details. So let's say 9.2 webinar. So not just that you don't need to have anything with the user, but now it's you have a log. So as administrator, you can always go to support user log, and then you will see exactly who connected, when, what was the details, and you can always ask from your consultant if you want additional details, please add more details, so because we're actually going through that. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay. It opened the link. So next slide is the alternative keyboard. Basically, for somebody who really likes or used to QuickBooks and click on enter to go between different fields. So instead of the tab, you can now choose to use the enter, and you can choose the to have the dot available for you when you use the right side keyboard. The setup for that is gonna be under the general settings. Under, if I'm not mistaken, under services, and you have use numeric keypad enter key as tab key, and you have different options to enable documents operation by mouse only. You know, sometimes that you click enter and SAP tries to edit documents, so you can disable or enable that based on your preference. So again, under general settings, under the services tab, it's going to be available, and this is how you change it. Next one is the ability to split journal entry. So one of the tips I shared before, Let me go back to SAP. One of the tips I shared before, and it was available even before 9.2, is the reference field links. That window allows you to go to any documents like AR invoice and decide what is going to be in Ref 1, in Ref 2, and in Ref 3 of the appropriate journal entry. And you can control the header Ref 1, Ref 2, Ref 3, and also the line Ref 1, Ref 2, Ref 3. What we are looking about now is the ability to have every line of the invoice appear as a separate line in the journal entry, because you may want to see the item code or the item description or the service description or the GL account or you name it in the general ledger, and that will allow you to do that. Although your journal entries will be much longer and it may take a little bit more space on the server. Okay, so the way to do that is to go to the document settings, and if you go to the per document, let me see, where is that? It happens. What's the definition? That's why we have that tip. So I can go into the presentation, click on that to open the tip. We'll see exactly where is that definition. Is document settings, general tab, choose the relevant split journal entry. Okay, so this is where I was, document settings, general tab. There you go, split journal entry posting by document lines. Right now I have no split. There are three options: split in journal entry preview only, so it does not affect general ledger, but when you click on preview you see that, or split. So let's do splits, and it tells me this setting may greatly increase the number of posting lines in new automatic journal. Do you want to continue? We'll say yes. So, for example, if now I am doing a sales invoice, and I'm going to have multiple lines in the sales invoice. So let's do 3 lines. And right now we define the item description to go to Ref 3 if I'm not mistaken. So we'll do test. We'll do one-time item. You can always force change of an item description one time and leave the field using Control Tab. So now we have 3 different lines. I'm going to add the documents. By the way, they are all going to the same GL account, right? So normally the system will not split and will use them as one line in the journal entry. But with the definition I added now, as I go into the journal entry, we see that it now split to many lines, and I have the item description as a Ref 3. So, for example, every time I go to my COGS account and I look even at the balance, I don't have Ref 3 here. Let me expose that. Ref 1, 2, 3. I will always see the item description. And this is one option. You can use the reference fields to use different ones. Let's go back to reference field links. And I go to AR invoice. I can use anything else other than item description. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so that definition can be changed. So no splits, bring back what it was. Okay, next one is price list updates. Let me check if we have any questions. Feel free to stop me at any time if you do have any questions, but I don't see any questions, not even in the chat, so I'll proceed, but feel free to type any questions you may have. So the next tip is the price list update. It's actually in the any documentation, and you have a lot of materials on how to do that and how it works and things of that nature. But the price list wizard, it's actually under inventory price list, and then you will have price update wizard. It's a really great tool if you have updates and you want to update the prices for all prices or for specific price lists, to increase, to divide. A lot of options are open here. So the wizard takes you through different options. If you want to, how do you want to affect item prices? To multiply, to divide, to add, maybe fixed price in the value. You can do that on base price list and affect all the prices with a specific factor. You can convert USD to different currency with a specific exchange rate and start using, producing financial reports with different currency. And you can also unit of measure reduced by a specific percentage and have again multiply and divide. So let's choose just one of them. For example, I want to change the base price and increase it by 1.1. I go to next. I can choose, I have the regular selection criteria, item group, manufacturer, item number, and the preferred vendor or properties. I have all kinds of options. Do not update, items with zero, things of that nature. This is where I choose the base price list. I can see that it's automatically affect all of them because all of my price lists here are based on the price list. And different options related to unit of measure and what do I want to update and what not, and how to do the multiplication if you use multiple unit of measure. For now I'm going to do that manual. It shows you a simulation. What is the current price? What's going to be the price after the change? You can go through that and make sure the changes are correct. You can see the prices that are not going to be affected because of whatever selection criteria, and it gives you a reason why it's not updated. And then you can go through the list. You can collapse it. Once you're ready, you can click on update to update everything. And when you're ready, you can execute. And okay, go through all price list, and all prices for items have been updated. And this is the log. Any questions so far?
Can that be used to increase, like from a vendor, if a vendor does a 5% price increase across the board?
Yeah.
Does that change the standard?
Yeah, if you have you probably have a vendor price list, so you will choose only a vendor price list, not to affect other price lists. Yes.
Okay.
I have another question from Diane. She asked, does price list updates have the ability to import a file? Yes, but this is based on the information you have in the system. There is another feature that allow you to update from a file, and you can do that using DTW, but there is also a tool within SAP to do that. If you go under administration, data import, and import from Excel. I'm going to do a price list, and you can define what do you have in the Excel. Column A is the item number, column B is the price list number, column C is the, anything you want to have. Just make sure it matches, make sure you test that. You choose the file, and it imports and updates the price list. Any other question? Okay, So we'll move on to the next tip. Next tip is data ownership in BP. Data ownership is something that exists quite a while, but it was just on documents. Now you can define data ownership on BP. Means that you can say who is the owner of the BP, and then based on that and based on the hierarchy you defined, some people will have access to documents to that BP and some will not, some users. So the definition is going to be under general settings, under BP, and enable data ownership. You can manage data ownership. The definition actually moved here because before it was just for documents. Now you have multiples. Manage data ownership by business partner only, by documents, and by business partner and documents. So if I choose that, now under the business partner, you will see a new field called owner, and you can assign any employee that you have as an owner on the business partner. And then there are other definitions, related to the hierarchy and what they can access, what not. So some users can access some BP and some are not. Depends on other definitions. Any questions so far? Okay, we'll move forward. Next one is payment cancellation. When you need to cancel a deposit, sometimes it could be hectic and it involves multiple transactions. You have to cancel the deposit and then go and cancel the payment. Now they made everything possible in one go through the check register window. So let's say we are receiving a payment from a BP, from a customer. Let's say we receive a payment for this, and it was, the payment mean is check, and the check number, let's say it's 998877. So now as I go to the check register, I can open everything. You know what? I need to deposit the check before because I wanted to see both options. So let's deposit the check. So I'm going to the deposit screen. And I'm looking for 998877. This is the check. I'm going to deposit that to at the bank and edit. So now as I go to the check register again, and I can look for 998877, I can see the check. I have, like previously, all the information about the check, related to this incoming payment, related to this deposit. What I can do now is from here, I can cancel the deposit and the payment, or just cancel the deposit. So if I cancel the deposit and the payment, it tells me what it's going to do. We cancel that. Now as I go to my deposit screen, it's going to create a new deposit of cancellation, reverse entry for the other deposit. We have here all the details, and it's going to cancel the incoming payments by like you would do a right-click cancel on the incoming payments, and the journal remarks is canceled, and obviously that invoice is open again for the payment, for the incoming payment. Okay. Questions so far? Okay, the next tip, the 10th tip, is open item list. I know everybody is familiar with the open item list, but I just wanted to make sure everybody are aware of the mass actions you can do when we are talking about documents that do not create journal entry behind them. For example, sales orders, POs, things of that nature. So if we look at the open item list and we look at sales orders or sales quotations, if I'm authorized, I can have multiple documents. I can filter, obviously, and sort. I can have multiple documents all canceled in the same time. So instead of going one by one or closing them, for example, if you have quotes and the quotes are always valid for 1 month for your prospects, and you want to close all the quotes that are over 1 month, you can do that. You can sort by the date, mark all the quotes that needs to be closed or canceled, and go to the data menu and close or cancel. In this case, those are sales orders, so I'm going to cancel them. 318 is one of the documents, so it's been canceled. As I go to number 318, you will see that it's been status changed to cancel and the order is closed now. So you can do that in sales orders, sales quotations, PO, but what is the nice thing I discovered here is the production orders. So you can have in the production order, now you can have a filter. You can see all production orders, you can see the released, or you can see only the plans. And as you see all the plans, you can decide from here to release in a batch all of them or just 3 of them. And I can change all of them to released.
Muted. Unmuted.
Thank you. Sorry, I was muted for a second.
That was me accidentally. Sorry.
Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that.
Just trying to keep you on your toes.
Okay, so but Carol, everybody heard what I mentioned about changing the status in a batch form?
I doubt it.
Okay, so
since we can't read lips.
okay, so and I'm not sharing camera. But if I am looking at all my planned production order, I can mark all of them or few of them, and now change them all to released. So I don't have to do that manually one by one, and I still have them in the item list, but I can look at all my released and now select all and decide to move them all back to plans. So vice versa you can do. Something I really like. Questions? Okay, we'll proceed. So next one is email log. One of the nice things about SAP Business One is that you can always email directly from the system. One of the nice things that we asked for quite a while, and now they added, it's pretty basic, but they are getting there, is the log. So now there is a new window called sent emails report, and you can look at the logs of documents, reports, and all between dates. And if you do reports, you can choose this, specific reports, and documents, you can choose specific documents to see if it was sent or not. And as you click OK, it will show you the log. It will show you, what was sent, to who it was sent, by which user, and the attached file that was sent together with the email. Okay. The one thing I want to mention in that regard, that unfortunately it shows all emails, the one that failed and the one that not. I asked from SAP also to add a status here, so it could also be an error log. But as for now, you will have to look at the messages overview, to look at status of the emails. So next tip is reoccurring transaction. Just I know it exists for quite a while, but few additions that they added in 9.2. So if we are looking at reoccurring transactions template, they added some options for the daily. So if you choose daily, you have many options. So you can be very, very flexible with the reoccurrence also of daily. The other thing is if I'm looking at customers, you probably noticed that button. You can also, so you can create from here sales orders, create invoice, activity, things of that nature, but you can also look at the reoccurring transactions. So if I'm looking at related reoccurring transactions, I can see all transactions that still needs to be executed, but I can also filter and to see the ones that were executed through the reoccurring transactions. Okay, any questions? Okay, the next one is going to be resource management. To the resource management, they're doing more and more better steps in managing production better and better controls. The resource functionality they added in 9.1 is really phenomenal. What they added here is linked to items, because in many cases you're doing outside manufacturing or manufacturing that is done through an employee or through even outside resourced company. So in some of the times you are, other than the production order that you are doing, you also having a PO open with the vendor for the service. So now linking the item to the resource will allow you to track that, but also to track the capacity of the manufacturer or the resource. So if we are looking at resource master data, let's create a new one, outside manufacturing, creating a new resource. You can have different costs and associate them with accounting, things of that nature, but you have capacity data, planning data, things of that nature. But right now we are really focused on the link to the item, and that could be machine and that could be labor. In that case, I'm going to do labor, and it can have different resource group. I'm going to add that resource. I'm going to go back to that resource, and now I'm going to create link to the item. Create a special non-inventory item that will be linked to this resource. I'm going to say yes. That created an appropriate item for me that is not inventory managed. And what happens now is I go and do, for example, purchasing from the vendor. So I'm going to order from the vendor service for, 500 units, and I pay $1 per unit. It doesn't matter at this point. But as I do the purchase order and I go to the master data and I refresh, I will see that it's created commitment to that capacity, to this specific warehouse. And it's going to obviously affect the planning, and my capacity report is available in the system. Okay. Next one is something we were looking for quite a while, and I'm happy they added that in 9.2, is the extended code length. So nothing really to demo here, but they just extended all across the system the item code to be 50 characters BP catalog number to be 50 characters instead of limitation of 20. Resource user code, which was limited to 8, is now 25 characters, and the manufacturer catalog number as well. And it's across the system. This is why it took them quite a while to get it done. Okay, any question on that? Okay. Next one is document references. I showed earlier how to link using UDF, but there is also another way and a nice way to link between documents. And there is the procurement that allows you to create purchase order based on the sales order. But let's say you want to connect the AR invoice with the AP. That happens. And let's say they're not even connected to the sales order. So let's say I want to connect that AR with some AP transactions. You can do that here under accounting, and you can use the edit form UI to move it elsewhere on the screen if you wish. I'll save it. I'll leave. But you can use the referenced document that normally under accounting to link another document, whatever document from the system. So I can link, for example, AP invoice, and it's going to be this number. I'm just choosing randomly, and have any specific remarks. And over here, you can always see the documents that referenced by. So in the AP invoice, we will see that here if I click on those three dots. So updating that, now when I go into the reference document, I always see that here. If I go into the AP invoice, it's going to be referenced, should be referenced. But the other thing, you don't have to click on
You
the...
didn't update the AR invoice. I think you have to push update right now.
Thank you. That's why we didn't see that in the AP. Yeah, now it shows. Thanks, Carol. The other thing you could do is look at the relationship map. And obviously this is an AP, came from good receipt, came from PO, but you can also decide to look at reference documents, and that will show you a different relationships, the one that we created manually. Yep. We have a questions. Can we link an attached document without going through each item, like APPO sales order? If each of those has an attachment, right now we have to go into each one to view the attachment. So Diane, you're talking about something else, right? You're talking about if you are using the attachment folder and attach here a file and you wanted to go through the sales process or the purchasing process. The question is, yes, you can do that, but not using that tab. It's a different form. I would use, instead, if you needed to go through any documents that you copy to, I would go through the UDFs. So I would create an attachment UDF, and as you have an attachment UDF and you copy to delivery and invoice, or the same on the AP side, it will copy the same attachment. But this tab really, it's a per document and per operation. Good question though.
Oren, can you link an AP invoice with another AP invoice?
Yep. I believe so. Let me check. So let's see, AP invoice. I'm gonna go to the reference documents, AP invoice with a different number, 6 in this case. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are getting close to the end. Inventory counting is my next tip. Inventory counting, they added some nice things that I didn't see a lot of them mentioned in the documentation. Inventory counting is a really nice feature. It enables you to really do good counting, and added in 9.0, I think, or 9.1. But basically, where do I go? Inventory transactions, inventory counting transaction. It basically saves the counting that you do and allows you to count by different unit of measure. Some things they added in 9.2 is different printing options, as well as, sometimes you have multiple counters, but not just multiple counters as individuals. You can define a team of counters. So you have a team that going into a specific place in the warehouse, and you want to put it as one count and not to have it as multiple counters. So you can define the specific users that are doing that. But if before it was just for users and not all the counters really use SAP Business One, now you can do that also for employee. So you don't necessarily have to choose a SAP user. As long as you define it as employee in employee master data, you can choose the employees that are going to be part of the team count. And now you have team counting here with different people that are going to count. We can choose the item. We can freeze it during the count. And we can have team counting that this count 3, this count 4. It means we have total of 7 items. But I see 973, so I'll do a number that is close to that. So, and 950. Okay. So we counted that. We can add. We can always choose to add many items or all the items from specific groups, or import. And then the system will allow us to print in different options. Maybe to print a sheet to the counter, maybe to print it with the actual, to show the quantity in count, or to hide it, and things of that nature. So a lot of options to count with. If you do not use handheld devices, that will be something else. As you tell the system it's been counted, the system will show you that line in red because there is a variance. There is a variance of 973, because we have 973 in warehouse. Total counted is 950. Sorry about that. I actually wanted more, so we'll do 980. We'll update. And then we could, it doesn't do any inventory transaction yet, but it saved the document as ready to post it. I can copy to inventory posting all the items with differences, team count and quantity in this case. So 980 is the total. The variance is 10. The system automatically use the appropriate item cost as you define, but you can always check the price because it will affect your inventory value, obviously. And as you're ready, you can edit, and that will be saved in the system, and you always have it traceability, and obviously it posts to your general ledger and things of that nature. Questions? All right, we are getting to almost the last tip. Now in SAP extended the chart of account to facilitate in all localizations, to facilitate 10 different levels. So chart of account can be expanded to whatever you want. In addition, it allows you to change the names on the chart of account. So if you want to, instead of calling that additional expenses, You want to call it corporate offices. It's a simple it's additional quick add to that, and you can change even the assets, although you don't want to change those, but in some countries there is a need to change it in order to support different configurations. The last tip for today is the live collaboration. It's a new tool introduced, I think, in the last patch or the one before it, PL5 or PL6. I think it's extremely helpful and really, really nice, but I also think it's still limited, and they will probably do a lot of enhancements based on customers' feedback. So what it allows you to do, if I go back to SAP, it allows you to interact with each other or with a group. So let me open another instance of SAP with a different user. And what it allows you to do, for example, if the icon is here, live collaboration, you can open that icon, and let me log into the second instance. Okay, so I'm going to go to my initial user. What it allows you to do is to interact with other users. For example, if I'm looking at PO and I'm the purchasing clerk and I have an issue with that PO, I don't know, the price was lower than, higher than what expected, because I went into, when I entered the price, I clicked on Control Tab and I saw all previous prices for the vendor, and I saw all previous prices that I bought them from other vendors. And I saw that there was an increase in the price. So what I can do from here is, again, go to this live collaboration, or I can do send to collaboration. If I'm in the document, I can do send to collaboration. Behind it. Okay, I'm just going to do that manually. So I'm going to do the live collaboration. I'm going to send it to Jason Butler, which is the manager account. The other account instance I opened. So this one is support. The other one is manager. I'm going to choose the manager. I'm gonna see the previous conversation with him, but I can delete the history if I want, and I can say, look at this PO, seems like prices increased. Are you aware? Okay, and even if I'm not in the document, I can share data and say that I'm referring to PO number 415 and send. Send it. Now I'm going to the manager account, which will open here. You see that blink, 3 dots, it means I have a new message. I go into this message and I see that he sent me, look at this PO, seems like prices increase. Are you aware? I can look at the PO and I can say, yes, that's fine. We also increased sales price. And I can share the data from the sales order, the recent sales order. Going back to here, I got the message and I have the link to the sales order. What you can also do, if we want to involve in the conversation somebody else, you can always add additional users, and then you need to give it a name, problematic PO, to give the group a name, and then you will have a group conversation with all the history, and so everybody are involved and aware of what's happening and things of that nature. So that's a really nice tool, new one. I'm sure there will be additional features they're going to add to that, but really nice for interaction for users that are in the system, kind of something in addition to the message and alerts that was there traditionally. Any questions so far? Okay, so with that, I want to go through some resources that you are aware where I take my information from, or some of the information from. It's really a lot of thanks to my team that all the time came to me and show me new stuff and new enhancements. So much appreciated, and as well as Ari from SAP, who go through a weekly SAP B1 tips. All are going to be here, so it's going to be in the presentation and you can follow that. All the previous tips and tricks presentation that I did from ASAG and outside, and all the tips and tricks, including this presentation, will always be in that page, Pioneer B1 tips and tricks. So you see that those links are taking us to the right place. So Pioneer B1 tips and tricks. I'm going to have this presentation also in the video, but also previous tips and tricks are going to be here. Presentation as well as the video, as well as different good resources. In addition, official 9.2 what's new. So everything that was new in 9.2, things that I didn't even talk about, are going to be in that document, and I'm going to add also presentation to there as well. The weekly tips, many of the tips I went through today and the links are coming from here, tips and tricks. You can follow Ari and then you'll receive it once a week, or go to that page and then you'll see all of them sorted, and you can go, resource management, you want to read more, you go here and you see what was that functionality. And SAP Idea Place, like always, if you have any idea or an enhancement, you can always go into the SAP Idea Place and submit your idea and vote for other ideas and things of that nature. Any questions so far? Any comments? Additional tips? Okay, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining. Appreciate you being a client, appreciate everybody, and wish you a great weekend. We'll be in touch soon, and next webinar will be posted in April, early April.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.